Hey guys! So, there's this young girl who created this TikTok video basically pointing out her flaws. And when I first watched that video, I thought this young girl seems to be going down the path of self-hatred if she's already not there yet. And I wanted to give a bit of an explanation about this level of self-hatred that I see that plagues a lot of young, dark-skinned women like herself. And there's this particular video that caught my eye, which was her comparing herself to another girl who has blue eyes and looks a lot more racially ambiguous. And this is a common pattern amongst Black women that I have noticed, especially dark-skinned Black women, where there is a constant comparison game against women of a lighter complexion and who are more ambiguously looking. And in my opinion, this stems from essentially when you try to alter yourself to have particular features that these lighter skinned and usually mixed women have, either via the way that you apply your makeup or hairstyles that you choose to wear. When you do these things in order to emulate the features that they have naturally, you will always be in a competition with them, whether it's done subconsciously or consciously. And then this then causes you to start resenting your physical appearance, which then leads to self-hatred. And eventually you will end up disliking these women who you're comparing yourself to just for the plain fact of them just existing and looking like what you wished you looked like. Because you've now realized that you will never be able to match up nor compete with the women who already have these features that you're trying to emulate. They already have them naturally. And I do want to preface the rest of this video with, I personally don't have an issue in how one chooses to look like and how they choose to enhance themselves, because essentially it doesn't affect me in the slightest. But I think that as unambiguous dark-skinned women, we need to have these conversations, and we need to really not act surprised and dumbfounded when we see these types of videos and just chalk it up to external factors solely, like white supremacy, and then in the same breath be complicit in how each individual dark-skinned women, and I'm not going to say all, but most, partake in their own self-hatred by practicing the harmful rhetoric and parroting the harmful rhetoric that dehumanize them. So when you are wearing the Vietnamese bone straight hair, Brazilian body wave, or even looser curly textured hair, you were always almost bound to feel like you will never be enough in your natural state. However, some women do like to, I guess, sometimes be delusional, and to the point that they're lying to themselves, and to say that they're just doing all these things because they love themselves and they love their natural state, when in reality, we all know that is not the absolute truth. Most likely, you're doing it because you don't feel like you're enough in your own natural state. And this isn't just directed towards dark-skinned Black women. It goes out to every woman out there, regardless of race, ethnicity, background. All women pretty much have their own insecurities. I mean, if you have a makeup bag, you are definitely a part of this. So it's not just exclusive to one group, but I focus on dark-skinned women here on this channel. And I don't necessarily blame dark-skinned women for the way that they feel. Their feeling of feeling less worthy because of the historical context, as well as the amount of bullying that many of them have suffered and continue suffering, and which has led them to feel like they are less than human. However, in the same breath, I do hold them accountable, and I do want to hold them accountable and continue to do so. So you understand that you have to have full ownership as to how your life turns out. You can't let other people dictate how you feel about yourself and know how your life will pan out, especially your future. And in my opinion, there are a few options that you have in order to move forward and take ownership of your life and start dictating how you feel about yourself and not others. So the first one being conforming to societal ideals of standards of beauty. And we all know, as unambiguous dark-skinned women, we know that the societal standards, especially in the Western world, were not made with us in mind. Of course, these beauty standards are very Eurocentric because they were created by Europeans and European descended people. So, as most people do, instead of fighting the society standards, they just conform to it and try to fit in as much as possible. So some do it through the way that they style their hair, apply their makeup. Some go also to the extremes of getting plastic surgery to essentially construct a new face or build new different features to be a lot more palatable. However, there is a downside, which is that you will always be in a constant, perpetual state of competition with the women who already have the features that you are trying to emulate and you are trying to essentially conform to. And you will always also be compared by other people against these women, and you will be made to feel like you are not enough because essentially you are trying to do twice as much as the work compared to the women who already have it naturally, where they just have to essentially exist and wake up, right? So the second option is to embrace your natural state. What I mean by natural state is by wearing your natural hair, very little to no concealing and contouring your features away. If you do like wearing wigs and weaves, you're wearing wigs and weaves that are the texture and resemble the texture of your own natural hair. And the downside of this, though, is that you'll probably face some backlash from, ironically, probably people who are close to you and who look like you, because that's how normally things go. Because you are no longer trying to fit in and conform to the general societal standards, but now you're trying to stick out. Well, you do stick out by just defying what the beauty standards are. Another way of essentially battling this is to promote your self-image and others who look like you by doing so from a position of power. So if you can get a prominent and powerful member in society, especially if they are in the beauty and entertainment industry, to promote your look and put it on a pedestal, this will then have a trickle-down effect on the general public, who will be influenced to like and embrace your look, and some will even go as far as to try to emulate it. And I guess this will make it easier for you to be able to like your own physical appearance because you'll see it receive a lot more praise, which will then encourage you to essentially keep your natural state and embrace it too. The downside is that it's very unlikely to happen, especially in the Western society, and your self-worth and self-esteem is going to be solely tied to what other people think about you, which is super unhealthy and bad because people change their minds all the time about what they like and what they don't like, especially when it comes to their ideas of beauty. So one day you'll be seen as beautiful and the next day they'll change their mind because someone influenced them or something that they saw influenced them, and they'll decide that you're no longer beautiful. So what exactly are you going to do then? Are you going to change how you feel about yourself based on other people's opinions? That's something for you to think about if you opt for this option. Or you could just move to an environment which somewhat embraces your look and your phenotype to an extent. So for many, these places can be found in Africa, the Caribbean islands, Latin America, where there is a substantial amount of unambiguous dark-skinned people. So these are all the options that I could come up with. So tell me in the comments what you all think about the TikTok videos that I showed you. And is there really a way for someone to be able to get over their self-hatred? And if you think so, comment down below. And if you don't think so, comment also down below. I would like to hear your thoughts. On to the next one. Bye.